I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here.
I got a question. Did that man say it's loud over here? Did that man say it was loud over here? Did he think you were going to pump in audio like a Seahawks game? Like, what? He said it was loud. He was assuming you were going to doctor the footage. He didn't know that you were actually just going to run the raw footage of what's actually going on when we said it's loud over here and we dubbed it a riot. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled.
This is the most despicable administration in human history.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get there. By now, I'm sure you've all seen the news from Minnesota.
Following breaking news in Minneapolis, where city officials confirm a shooting occurred reportedly involving a federal ICE agent and a civilian this morning.
And we've also seen the reactions from those in charge.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him.
This is the person. This is the person who, within minutes of the shooting, went on TV and called it domestic terrorism. What is she, hiding her face like her ICE agents now? She can't show her face either? By the way, is this what the $800 billion went to? Every day we see her after there's some new tragedy in Homeland, she's wearing a different outfit with a different hat. I mean, come on, guys, she looks ridiculous. She's not just an embarrassment to the country. She's an embarrassment to you and the president. Okay, she deserves to be removed from her job by the president, and if not impeached, not just for her complete failures in Homeland, but her destruction of FEMA. She's not even running the department. You guys know this. You guys know she's not running Homeland. Your governors and you all, when you need your FEMA money, you don't call Noam, you call Corey. You know she's not running the place. She's a complete and utter embarrassment. By the way, every Homeland Secretary has come in front of this committee once a Congress. I'd like to know the date she's coming. When is she coming?
When is she coming?
When is she coming? By the way, do you know Pam Bondi has not come in front of this committee? Do you know she's the only secretary to not appear in front of a committee yet? When is she coming? What's the date on the calendar that she's coming? You know what? Let's make it easy. I want to make a motion to subpoena Pam Bondi.
Second.
To this committee.
Now, I put responsible in quotes because we know they don't actually take responsibility for anything. As far as Kristi Noem is concerned, the question you have to ask yourself is, what is her credibility like?
You write in the book, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. I'm sure he underestimated me. That, as I understand, is now being removed from the book at your request.
Yes, when I became aware of that, we changed the content, and the future editions will be adjusted. And, I appreciate that. I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. I should not have put that anecdote in the book, and at my request, they have removed it.
Okay, next. I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It's a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. Okay, now the first thing that we need to ask ourselves is this an administration and a president prone to reacting and trying to move the political football without sufficient information?
Those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
That is a check. That is a check. The second question that we need to ask ourselves is, and this is for you two MAGAs, is there any scenario whereby Donald Trump, or by proxy you MAGAs, would assess blame to the ICE officer in defense of an American citizen? What would the ICE officer have had to have done for Donald Trump and his sycophants to say, you know what, that was wrong? Huh? Yeah, I can't wait forever, but we'll wait. Let me know by the end of if there's anything at all that the officer could have done where Trump would have came out and said, you know what, we need to do a thorough investigation because that looks like a crime that I just saw. Now, in the absence of a sufficient answer to that question, what would the ICE officer have had to have done? In the absence of a sufficient answer to that question, then you're not actually reacting to this situation. If there isn't anything the officer could do that wouldn't have you back him in blaming the radical leftists, again, you don't need information to do that. We've seen that before. If there's not anything that he could have done that wouldn't have had you to respond in this way, well, then your response doesn't mean anything. It literally means nothing at all. In fact, I would actually argue it's a detriment to the entire. You indict him by proxy, by virtue of your blanket support, regardless of the actual situation.
But wait, there's more.
Now, we went through this in 2020, MAGAs. We went through this in 2020 with the Black Lives Matter movement, and everything was just comply, regardless of the scenario. It was always just comply. And I'm going to ask you the question now that I asked you then, because you seem to be rubber stamping an administration moving against its population pretty much regardless of the circumstances. Now, prior to this, your deniability was what? That they were brown, that they were black people. This is a white woman. This is a white woman. And guess what? They called her a radical leftist, but they've already shown that playbook last year where they will call just about anybody they don't agree with a radical leftist. So that doesn't even mean anything. Is this what you want? Are you sure this is what you want? Because this don't really sound like draining the swamp and attacking the deep state. I can tell you that right now. I'm still looking for the ICE vehicle stuck in the snow that Renee Good supposedly attacked. What Steve Bannon and Trump's minions missed is our cell phone cameras tell the truth, and social media spreads faster than the press and the news that they're working to suppress.
You probably have already seen the news about the 37-year-old woman who was shot by ICE agents in Minneapolis. It's disturbing news, and I don't normally share footage like that, but I'm going to here. I've been rereading the George Orwell novel, 1984, and it's so disturbing to see the extent to which that dystopian portrait of a future authoritarian America where the government lies in its propaganda to the population, repeatedly and brazenly is being replicated by the Trump administration. It's almost like they're using George Orwell's playbook to run the administration. Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, got up at a press conference after the shooting and claimed that the ICE agents were acting in self-defense. There's a video that was shot by a bystander on their cell phone that clearly shows the truth, which was that this was a homicide.
She didn't try and run him over. She ran him over. Any other U.S. president would be finished politically after brazenly lying about the killing of an American citizen like this. That is correct. But one thing that MAGA has cemented over the course of the last decade, the rules are apparently different for Trump, which, by the way, just as I argued prior, your blanket support makes it meaningless. The same is the case with Trump. The exact same. That's why it reads so poorly when other people try it. Right, JD Vance? Correct. You can accept that this woman's death is a tragedy while acknowledging it's a tragedy of her own making. Don't illegally interfere in federal law enforcement operations and try to run over our officers with your car. It's really that simple. Okay. Let's first address the car scenario that he just laid out. And I only needed to scroll down to address that.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
Then as far as don't illegally interfere in federal law enforcement operations. You mean like Ashley Babbitt? Is that what you mean? Don't interfere? Because this was your reaction to Ashley Babbitt as well, right? She got a whole settlement and they went to give her a military funeral and all that. Fascinating. That it's not the Ashley Babbitt energy here. In fact, JD Vance, isn't this you mocking a J6 vigil?
JD Vance is sharing pictures mocking the Democrats for holding a candlelight vigil for the people who lost their lives on or connected to January 6th. So he posted this AI slop meme, I guess trying to be funny, showing Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries wearing sombreros. This was a picture taken at the candlelight vigil they held to honor the people who passed away on that day or connected to that day, including multiple Capitol police officers. But I find it very hypocritical that not long ago at all, JD Vance said this about the people mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination: you should not be protected from being fired for being a disgusting person. He consistently demanded absolute respect for Charlie Kirk after he passed away and consequences for anybody who dared to make fun of him. But you don't get to decide when mourning is acceptable based on party affiliation. If respect matters, it matters all the time, not just when it's politically convenient. This is also a desperate attempt to minimize January 6th and pretend like it was a normal day, just a walk in the park. But law enforcement officers were injured, traumatized, and in some cases, lost their lives as a result of that day. Acknowledging that reality and honoring their lives is not partisan, it's being a human.
And even went so far as to put sombreros on, as if the Latinos for Trump haven't suffered enough in 2026. And here's where just common sense and logic would weigh in here, because the powers that be would have us to trust their word, right? Despite the fact that we've already seen them speak out of turn, and we can't even imagine a scenario where they would have come away saying literally anything other than what they're saying. And then there's this. Minnesota officials say they can't access evidence after fatal ICE shooting, and FBI won't work jointly on investigation. The head of Minnesota State Investigations Agency says the U.S. Attorney's Office has cut off its access in the fatal shooting of a Minneapolis woman by an ICE agent. The investigation will now be led solely by the FBI and the BCA, would no longer have access to the case materials, scene evidence, or investigative interviews necessary to complete a thorough and independent investigation. That from the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension Superintendent Drew Evans. Now that's odd. This from the everything is above board, we have nothing to hide, but we won't allow a state investigation which could allow for the transparency to eliminate the doubt that is growing by the minute. But no, you can trust everything, just don't look. That's what I'm getting. It would kind of be like just telling us to just trust you. It would be kind of like launching a whole fraud position.
And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
Despite the fact that Philip Esformez in Florida committed more fraud with his company than every single Somali scheme in the state of Minnesota combined, his total fraud was $1.3 billion. Trump pardoned him, so he got away free. Oh yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, there is that. Now, one thing I will give you, MAGAs, is you guys are really phenomenal at pushing a narrative. I mean, we're in Minnesota. We were just here talking about the whole child care scheme. You guys are phenomenal at pushing a narrative. So as blatantly obvious as all the things that I've laid out are, you still have people out here.
I want to jump in here. I want to ask you where you're at right now. And we're seeing the images on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What kind of things are they shouting? The crowd that's out there.
I'm sorry. Does he know that it says riot on his caption? I don't know that he knows that it says riot on his caption. That might have been like an autofill or something like that.
I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that. What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
So that's one reason why I'm not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here.
I got a question. Did that man say it's loud over here? Did that man say it was loud over here? Did he think you were going to pump in audio like a Seahawks game? Like what? He said it was loud. He was assuming you were going to doctor the footage. He didn't know that you were actually just going to run the raw footage of what's actually going on when we said it's loud over here and we dubbed it a riot.
It's profanities. A lot of profanities against ICE.
They were like, get out. It's not looking good. Go to Tim Walz. Go to Tim Walz. They just milling around. We called it a riot. They just show some Black Lives Matter footage. Wouldn't go to Tim Walz then.
Prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard.
So let's talk about what liberals are currently rioting over, because I was out today. I got the notification on my phone that a liberal woman was shot and killed by ICE in Minneapolis. And I thought to myself immediately, okay, here we go. We know immediately what's coming next, because it's worth noting this is not even the first case of a crazy liberal domestic terrorist attempting to run over and attack ICE agents with their vehicle. And after all, logically speaking, it doesn't exactly seem all that smart to, first of all, try to run over anyone with your car, but especially an armed law enforcement agent. And legally speaking, by the way, of course, a car, especially a gigantic SUV like this, is absolutely classified as a deadly or dangerous weapon in the United States. If a deadly or dangerous weapon is coming right at you, you absolutely are in reasonable fear for your life, right? There's an imminent threat right in front of you.
We're going to address the car as a deadly weapon. Put a pin in that.
And yes, it is an act of self-defense, absolutely what this ICE agent did. But as you could expect, liberals are disagreeing. But I want to point out to people, I think this is a little bit more than them just saying, oh, it was an unjustified use of force or something like that. It's actually a pretty mask-off reaction that we are now seeing from Tim Walz and elected Democrats who are not just trying to argue maybe the police officer, or the ICE agent, I should say, could have gotten out of the way, maybe he didn't need to shoot, whatever. No, they're pretty openly trying to crown this woman who, again, attempted to kill ICE with her car as a hero, as a martyr. By the way, of course, as I pointed out after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I mean, no matter how much Democrat politicians try to say vaguely and, very shallowly, oh, we condemn political violence, I think, first of all, actions speak a lot louder than words.
Now, did y'all notice this man said they want to crown her a hero or a martyr? Exactly what they said about George Floyd. How dare you defend somebody's right to live? They must be a hero. Immediately after saying they want to crown her a hero or a martyr, he immediately starts talking about Charlie Kirk. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't. His brain was like, I'm not wired for this level of cognitive dissonance. I can't even. Charlie Kirk is where I'm going. You talked about crown him a martyr. That's where I'm going. Now, let's circle back around to the car as the deadly weapon and how we got here, the greater context, because this is what we've seen from ICE already.
Hey, you touch me? I didn't touch you. You touch me? I didn't touch you. You touch me? It's all on camera. You touch me? It's all on camera. It's all on camera.
ICE is now being accused of crashing into someone's car, shooting at their car, and then fleeing the scene, with the LAPD reportedly investigating this as an assault with a deadly weapon and as a hit and run because they fled the scene. Now, currently, a suspect hasn't been named, but also that wouldn't be surprising because ICE wears masks without badges and name tags.
That's right. We've also seen cars driven by ICE agents crashing into civilians. So no doubt that would have been assault with a deadly weapon as well, right? You would have had the same energy for that because of the danger of the motor vehicle. Or is it just that the same Subaru becomes just an innocent tool of peacemaking in the hands of ICE, but a deadly weapon in our hands? Maga, you sure this is the world you want? Are you sure this is the world that you want?
This is the most despicable administration in human history. J.D. Vance decided to go ahead and double down on the ICE assaulting and this woman orphaning a 6-year-old child. He says, I want every ICE officer to know that their president, vice president, and the entire administration stands behind them. To the radicals assaulting them, doxing them, threatening them, congratulations, we're going to work even harder to enforce the law. What the does that mean? I just learned today that ICE officers only get 47 days of training. Do you know why they get 47 days of training? It's not because that's the optimum amount of training time. It's because that is the number President Donald Trump is right now. What sense does that make? See, this is what I'm saying. The lack of accountability, the just abundance of incompetence, it's crazy right now. This woman would still be alive, possibly, if he got more than 47 days of training. And I mean, weren't y'all the party that was sponsoring this?
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of.
Now, based off of what was just said, why couldn't that woman walk away? It's also against the law for law enforcement to shoot into a moving vehicle, specifically DHS.
Now, this is DHS policy. I'm reading to you from DHS policy. DHS law enforcement officers are prohibited from discharging firearms at the operator of a moving vehicle or other conveyance unless the use of deadly force of the, basically it says, unless it...
This appears to be black and white.
Well, it does. And it also says a law enforcement officer must take into consideration the hazards that may be posed to law enforcement and innocent bystanders by an out-of-control vehicle, which we just...
Like, this is what I'm talking about. Just where is the competence? Where are the adults in the room that are supposed to be making these hard, tough decisions?
But whereby a sensible human being, once they realize they are down bad and they have created a scenario that can only get worse, would try and find a way to pull back. Well, the MAGAs among us double down.
I think we're going to see those deportation numbers ramp up as we get more and more people online, working for ICE, going door to door and making sure that if you're an illegal alien, you've got to get out of this country. And if you want to come back, apply through the proper channel.
That's right. You heard him correctly. Door to door. You know, an operation led by the same Kristi Noem, who naturally we can trust, and conducted by the same ICE officials who have shown the appropriate level of sensitivity and humanity.
Door to door to make sure that you're not an illegal citizen. What the fuck did I just listen to? Did I just hear the vice president of this country say that they're going to mobilize ICE to go door to door, and this is coming after ICE just murdered a woman, a U.S. citizen? Seriously? Y'all, what the fuck is actually going on? We said, and I have to keep on harping on this because everybody that supported Kamala Harris, and we're trying to get everybody to recognize how dire the situation was if Donald Trump got back into office with the rhetoric that he was using. We were told we were crazy, we were fear-mongering, none of this stuff was ever going to happen. We even saw that with the World War III shit saying that Donald Trump was not a peace president, and they said that we were crazy and fear-mongering about that, and now we just watched Donald Trump bomb a country and kidnap their leader. But specifically with what he is doing here with these mass deportations, we said the rhetoric that he was using was extremely dangerous because there's no way that you're going to be able to do the things that he is saying that he wants to do without just being full blanketed racist ass agents of chaos. And Donald Trump has no problem with that. That is what he wants ICE to be. But they're now killing white people. That's what's so fucking crazy about that. If they're killing the white women, nobody is fucking safe. So if they're about to start sending motherfuckers door to door, this shit is about to get really motherfucking crazy.
So I saw a clip of JD Vance interview with Jesse Walters. I don't know when it was filmed. It was recent because in the interview it talked about Venezuela, but I don't know if it was before or after Renee Good's death. But he said in this clip that I saw that when it comes to immigration, he wants ICE to go door to door to find out if people are citizens. Understand, door to door, to find out if people are citizens, and if you're not, you just can, reapply and come back here legally. With these jackbooted thugs, these people with Nazi tattoos on them, these people who are untrained, these women beaters, these drug addicts, can you imagine them coming door to door? That means when Donald Trump is either too addled brain to lead or dies, this tyranny is not going to stop.
And yet, as clear and obvious as all these things are, there will still be those among us.
So Minneapolis, you mean to tell me that this lady parked in front of federal agent cars, when asked to leave, when asked to get out the car, drove off?
What's with the music? I don't understand. Do you know that you put? Do you know how to use social media?
Directly to the officer that was in front of you, literally. And then to top it all off, you had your friend was outside waiting, watching, and recording for you, where the friend was able to capture the federal agents getting out the car with you standing in the front of it.
I'm sorry. Are you under the impression that any video footage is just somebody's friend and that it has to be a setup? Is that what you wait till he learns about surveillance footage? Wait till he learns about body cams. He has a lot to. That didn't stop him from jumping on social media, though.
So you can block them from leaving. If attack, that's what you want to go with, I wouldn't do that. Only to have later on the police department of Minnesota himself.
Did you just say the police department of Minnesota? Because I can direct you to the Minnesota authorities. I just talked about how they can't even get involved in the investigation. So literally none of that is true.
Describe the situation as you being an attacker. Now you see why Kristen Oman consider it a terrorist attack, don't you think so? And you know, the officer shot a few times. She got shot. She no longer alive. We are not happy about it at all. However, what was she doing there? Stopping federal agents from doing their jobs, and have your friend recording too. And I don't care about what Tim Walz talking about. Please don't say nothing, sir.
Whoa. Wait a minute. So you care what Trump and Kristi Noem are talking about. You mischaracterize what the authorities on the ground are saying, and you magically don't care what Tim Walz has to say because it doesn't fit your. Now you see why we have such an uphill battle. This is why I do videos every day. This is why I do videos every day. Not for him, trying to stop them before they get to this point. With a whole accent, while they talking about going, do you, player? You got it. By the way, the mayor would like a word.
To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. Somebody is dead. That's on you. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying. To the family, I'm so deeply sorry. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get. We're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants.
As far as you are concerned, JD Vance, this whole pick-me turn that you are trying to take and accelerate around the corner to push yourself forward in 2028, I know you feel threatened by Rubio. I know you feeling threatened by Rubio. Look, they not rocking with you. I don't know what you need to hear. They not rocking with you. And the further you go down this road, the less you will literally have any support.
It looks like JD Vance's dreams for 2028 might get taken down by the same formula that helped Donald Trump win a second term, because this right-wing influencer just announced that he would vote for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance in 2028. And his reasoning is unbelievably stupid. Watch.
Like this next election cycle, who's going to win? It's going to be Gavin Newsom against JD Vance, because JD Vance is subhuman and Gavin Newsom bugs.
JD Vance is subhuman?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
He's got a very short total facial width to height ratio. He's obese, very recessed side profile, whereas Newsom is like 6'3" Chad.
You're going to pick the pro-mass migrant, pro-trans, pro-murder the babies, pro-burn the cities to the ground, pro-BLM Democrat because he's skinnier than the conservative vice president.
100 times over.
Yeah. And credit to Gavin Newsom's people, because they clearly see that this is going on, because without any context, without any words, this is what they tweeted out just a few hours ago. So when I say the same formula, do you guys remember when Maga kept saying that Trump was more energetic than Joe Biden? Now, instead of energy, these influencers are talking about looks. Same formula. No policy, no principles, just vibes and aesthetics. JD Vance might want to start worrying, because he's already skipping past the 2026 midterms and right to 2028. We're only a year into the second Trump administration, and by all conventional logic, he should be running running away with the nomination. But the fact that right-wing influencers from the very constituency that helped Trump win are already saying that they're not going to support him this time around, that should definitely set off alarm bells for him.
Now, that was just absurd. That wasn't based on any actual principles, like you having a brown wife, anything like that. There's the whole America First faction who any degree of doubling down on this doesn't change that fact. It is what it is.
Buddies from Yale call me JD, but you can call me the second most powerful person in the world. People in every country respect and admire me, and I am the president's most trusted advisor.
Wait, he actually said that?
He said most trusted.
This man is an absolute piece of...
Is JD your most trusted advisor?
No, he's at the bottom of my list. If I'm being honest, which I never am, he gives me the ick.
Respect, of course, starts at the home, where I know my wife loves and supports me.
I can't stand the man. Sorry, I've been holding that in. He is just insufferable. And I am counting down the minutes until Erica can swoop in and take him off of my hands.
Oh, and one more thing, for those of you that are watching and might feel a degree of hopelessness, keep in mind, things fall apart. Nothing lasts forever.
I saw this creator responding to this comment left to them by the parent of an ICE agent. And that got me thinking, if you're the parent of an ICE agent or an ICE agent, you may want to tune in. See, my mother's always been there to help me see what I wasn't seeing, to offer me words of wisdom when I was operating in life without an eye for consequences. Please allow me to offer that to you now. I am actually trying to help, believe it or not. See, you seem to be operating as though this administration will always be in power. Nothing could be further from the truth. And when a new presidential administration does make it into office with an eye for holding these guys accountable, two things are going to happen. They will happen. The only question is when. Number one, the Supreme Court will get stacked, either 13 or 15 justices. And number two, this is where you need to pay close attention. When Trump came into office this time, he completely gutted the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice.
Wait. I was going to let you rock. But I had to jump in here. So not only have you not been able to even imagine a scenario where they wouldn't have come out and supported the ICE agents, not only have we seen them react and try and score political points with no information whatsoever, you have the situation where they have actively kneecapped the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, because that's not indicting at all. Because that's not indicting at all. Wrong. You want to support a case they would have made regardless of the circumstance that was prepared well in advance because they didn't actually need facts or information from an administration that has actively tried to halt the enforcement of civil rights. Maga, is this the world that you want?
Then through the big, beautiful bill, he allocated tens of millions of new budgetary dollars to ICE and DHS. You obviously know that. But when a new presidential administration comes in to hold these guys accountable, they're going to take those dollars from DHS and ICE. They're going to throw them back at the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice, and they are going to hire a shit ton of attorneys to process the backlog of civil rights abuse cases that will be easily prosecutable using the audio and visual documentation currently being compiled. Many of you think that those masks will help you avoid accountability, but they will not, because if you think about it, you've been walking around with a cell phone in one of those tactical pockets of yours, and all they need to do is take the date, time, and location stamp from that video documentation and superimpose it with the date, time, and location stamp of your cell phone records, and when the courtroom portion of the shitty reality TV show does begin, ICE agents will begin throwing one another under the bus to offering testimony to avoid accountability for themselves. And Kristi Noem's not going to keep you out of the hot seat. She can't even keep herself out of the hot seat. And if you're a minority ICE agent, I wonder if you put any thought into when that does all start, who do you think those racist white ICE agents are going to point the finger at?
Hey, Black MAGA, Latinos for Trump. I got something for you. I sent it to you. Put a star on it.
Anyway, for all ICE agents, at the very least, at a bare minimum, at some point in the future, there will be a knock at your door. You are going to spend years of your life fighting in court, both criminally and civilly. That's a fact. Worst case scenario is you will go to prison if you truly are involved in violating someone's constitutional rights. And if you're a minority ICE agent, I wonder who you will look to for protection in prison. The Aryan gangs aren't going to help you, and I doubt the ethnically specific gangs are going to want too much to do with you either. And I wonder, during this period of time, how many of their relatives you will detain and or deport. Remember, guys, I know you got a $50,000 bonus, but all that glitters is not gold. This will happen. It's just a matter of when.
Mark Kelly tried to warn y'all. He tried to warn y'all about illegal orders. Well, if you don't believe Mark Kelly, believe Pete Hegseth, because he said it first.
Going to follow his orders. The military's not going to follow illegal orders. And so the Trump campaign was forced to change their position and say, we're going to try to change the law so that the military can operate within the law.
There's always a video. There's literally always a video. Thank you guys so much for supporting the video. It's the end of another year we won't be able to explain to our kids. And what did we learn? Never trust a Jet 2 holiday. Never take your side piece to Coldplay. Now that's neo soul territory. So much has happened in 2025. Last year this time, I was selling podcasts out the back of my trunk using rent-to-own furniture. Last year, I was sitting the bench watching JV basketball as a senior with a uniform on, hoping I don't have to play. This year, I got 3 kids and a trick knee. 2025. Well, look on the bright side. At least your year was better than Katy Perry's and Sydney Sweeney's. Taylor Swift came into 2025 thinking they were going to win the Super Bowl and definitely going to make a run this year. And she was going to have all that airtime. They lost that one. And now Travis at home for the whole off season on the couch, gaining weight as a fiance.
Damn.
But since it is the end of the year, I want to remind all of our members to check the community tab and vote on our year-end awards. Those are going on right now, and there's a couple of polls that we've run already. But you know what? I feel hopeful going into the new year, and this community is a big part of that. Also, the Let 'em Fight banquet is also another very big part of that. But here we're talking about this community. I'm talking about our head moderator, Miss Ray, Regina on research, and our editors, David, Denzel, and Boz, as well as all the mods that have helped us with the premieres, our research squad, which was just assembled. And by the way, if you would like to join either the research squad or be one of our volunteer mods, you can hit me up at admin@reesewaters.com. And I also have to give a special shout out to somebody who started out as one of our volunteer mods, but has become an integral part of this particular channel and has stepped up when needed. My girl, Deshauna, who also sent me this photo with her discouraged, depleted, but never defeated t-shirt. And you know what, Deshauna? It looks as good as I feel when I see your name in the chat during the premiere. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and thank all of you for all of your support. I can't wait to see what's next.